Your Excellency, thank you very much for joining me today. It is a pleasure to have you on the Impact Talks and kickstart our series, which is going to focus on innovation for sustainable development.
Thank you very much for having me, and it's always good to see you, and very excited to be part of this series.
Same at this end. Last year you had an inspirational TED Talk that I watched very closely. And I think that if there's any area that came out is your passion for what you're doing. So you spoke about the mission and vision behind SRTIP and how you are aiming basically to enable collaborations and also a knowledge economy, which both areas are actually very much linked to the Sustainable Development Goals as well. On one side we have partnerships, SDG 17, aiming to bring together all economy actors in order to catalyze transformation and change. And on the other hand, when we think about the knowledge economy, we think of innovation, and we know that radical transformation is what we need in order to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, there are a lot of areas that I want us to delve in while we are doing this interview, but I was curious to know from you personally, why is it that sustainable development and innovation are at the forefront of your personal vision?
I think our vision based on prosperity of people and prosperity of environment and prosperity of economic growth. Therefore, sustainable development is a key theme and key pillar of our work, because our work here to promote innovation and to promote opportunities and to promote new technologies and new hopes and jobs for young people. To do this, we need to make sure and ensure that we have sustainable growth, not only economic-wise, but social-wise, technology-wise, and environmental-wise. So these things goes hand in hand when you develop any economy or any projects.
And if you were to go into the mission and vision of SRTIP, what's the core purpose of its existence? How was it developed for those listeners that aren't familiar with SRTIP?
So Sharjah Research and Technology Park is a response from Sharjah government to an overall United Arab Emirates innovation vision and mission. So the UAE as a country is a very young, dynamic country. It's a 48 years old country. Established itself as a regional hub for transport and logistics, tourism, finance, even technology. We've been using hydrocarbon resources, oil and gas, to develop this country for the past 48 years. And we did this very well. The government now and the leadership think, okay, what about the next 50 years? And the response to that, to make sure that UAE maintain its competitiveness, its connectivity, we have to move from oil-based economy to a knowledge-based economy to an innovation-based economy. So we have an overall UAE innovation strategy and 2030 strategy. And part of this overall strategy, each Emirates has its own activities and respond to this project. In the Emirates of Sharjah, being the capital of education, the host of the biggest universities in the country, and the number of students and the PhDs, the government realized that over the past 35, they've been developing an ecosystem of education. The natural next step for this was to establish a platform where academia, government, and private sector can come and co-create. And that's the Sharjah Research and Technology Park. So the vision of the Sharjah Research and Technology Park to become a regional platform for innovation and technology transfer and venture building and creation. That's our vision and that's our mission.
Definitely. SRTIP is going to be an enabler and a facilitator for these collaborations, which are key in order to establish exactly what you've mentioned, the knowledge-based economy.
Yeah.
Because if you take fresh graduates from universities and then with their support and with the government support and the private sector start innovating, that's when we will see the solutions coming to life in order to support us lead to the vision and also to the centennial 2071 to make the UAE the best country in the world,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And now, since you gave us an overview about SRTIP, there are many ambitious projects that are being born out of this community and particularly in line with sustainable development. So if you think of the autonomous vehicles, they will help us reduce the carbon footprint, reduce the number of accidents, both of areas that are highlighted by the Sustainable Development Goals. Then we have the hydroponics technologies, which will enable us to farm in this arid area and to improve the food security and achieve the agenda of the country as well. And afterwards, we also have 3D printing, which supports us reduce waste. But these are just some examples that resonated very well with me. Maybe you can tell us more about some other projects or even in details about these projects that were born out of the innovation ecosystem.
So we here at the park try to promote emerging technologies. So you mentioned 3D and additive manufacturing. The park today is a leading platform for additive manufacturing in the region. So in the Sharjah Research and Technology Park, we print metal, we print plastic, and we even print construction. So if you go around, you will see a house which is printed using 3D technologies. You will see a facility for metal printing, and you will see also plastic printing, which we are very proud that, for example, during COVID-19 last month, we managed to print more than 400,000 face shield for health workers and police in collaboration with our tenants here, Amensa. If you go to hydroponics and aquaponics, you also can see a project by Merlin in the park developing technologies related to agriculture technology, which is very important in this part of the world because, as you know, we import 80-90% of our food from outside. So for security reasons, the country now is promoting this, making funds available for companies to come and creating resources to attract technologies in this field. If you go to transport and logistics, we are very proud to host probably the biggest transport and logistics innovation center in this region with the company Skyway, creating next generation trains and mobility. We have things in AI and other projects, virtual reality and augmented reality. So we're trying to promote emerging technologies and attract them to the Middle East by using our platform to access the Middle East market. And we do this through making funds available, we do this through making investors available, we make this through making mentorship, government support and projects and other means. But our main objectives is to use the park as a platform for global companies, global entrepreneurs, innovators to come and base their activities in the Middle East and hopefully take advantage of the new opportunities this region provide.
The region definitely opens up to plenty of opportunities, you're absolutely right, and despite the current crisis that we've been facing for the past months, which is a socio-economic crisis, what is always inspirational about the UAE in general is that the vision always looks ahead. So it's not only about navigating the current challenges by making economic relief packages available to those that are conducting businesses in the UAE, but it's also about then planning ahead. And in the light of this, you've mentioned about the masks that were printed in order to support during the past months the medical gear to be basically printed in-house and to support the healthcare sector in the UAE navigate the COVID-19 crisis. And if there's an area that was very much under the spotlight over the past months, that was pivoting. And we've heard of plenty of organizations that are looking now for innovation, pivoting, because they've understood that the situation that we've been facing is completely different to any other crisis that we've ever faced. And unless there is an adaptation, either temporary to their business model or something that would transform it on the long run, it is impossible to navigate the crisis and then to support the economy being rebuilt. So in the light of this, besides the project that you've mentioned, what else have you seen as action from SRTIP's ecosystem as a response to the COVID-19 crisis, or in general in the Emirate?
I think there is, of course, a growing response from the various players, whether it's government or academia or companies or ecosystem builders like ours. In our case, of course, the 3D printing is one element. We also saw things in agricultural technology. We see now more and more people embedding new technologies to grow their farms, to grow even agriculture on top of their houses. And we are supporting that. And as I said, we have a big demonstration here of new technologies related to agriculture. So that's one area. But also we have in the healthcare sector area, we have a part of our ecosystem, companies like NAPTA, who's introducing now hybrid system to healthcare. So both the traditional way of conducting healthcare and the new way of conducting healthcare. So we have different initiatives related to this. We are developing new projects related to, I would say, emergency technologies, and this can vary from contactless technologies to tracing technologies to other type of technology. So we are doing a lot of things, and this is in collaboration not only with our, I would say, partners locally, but also with our partners and collaborators globally. So we believe in global vision with a local mission, and we believe in partnership. So we don't do this only by us. No, we believe in open innovation. We've been promoting open innovation. Open innovation, that means that you work with different people from different backgrounds. And this is exactly what we're trying to do.
And you've mentioned already a few times co-creation,
Yes.
which is fundamental to
Yes.
enabling these
Yes.
partnerships
Yes.
and to ensure
Yes.
that we innovate. Now, we've been speaking about areas of technology and innovation, and definitely everyone's attention is focused on this. For me, it's very interesting to see how the park keeps up with so many developments, because there is a lot happening. But what do you see personally the future of innovation, the future of technology? In which direction you think we are heading, and how can we, through this, support tackling the most the sustainability challenges that our world is currently facing?
I think there are key words you tend to listen or hear from different perspectives. Of course, talking about big data. That the future of the big data will replace oil for at least this part of the region. So I think that's a big area where I think is play a really critical role in terms of analytics, in terms of artificial intelligence. I think this will be a very big area that will define future economies. So big data and supercomputing and everything related to that ecosystem, I believe. I think more and more you will see sharing economies. That's another theme, I think, that will grow as we, and it will be, I think, improved and expedited. I think digitization will be a big topic going forward. So there are, I think, the various themes that will be, I think, promoted going forward. But I think the beauty of what we are trying to do here is we are trying to create an ecosystem which is also important to grow, because again we go back to this question of open innovation. it's very important, I think, for you as a company or entrepreneurs to be part of an ecosystem that can provide you access to different things. And most importantly, of course, access to talent and mindset. Because I think that's what differentiates us from any other location, at least in the region, is we have a different mindset of doing things, I think. And we are very proud of our ecosystem. You know, we have each company that we have here is a star. And I'm very proud of working with them as one team to co-create and to co-invest and to grow. We all want to grow, and we consider ourselves also a startup as we speak now.
I think it also depends how you define a startup.
Yes, of course.
You're growing at a very fast pace, and I'm sure that there will be many listeners that would be keen to connect, to engage with SRTIP. Are you still open to bring companies within the ecosystem, to bring startups here?
Yeah.
What is it? How is it that listeners
Yes.
can get involved?
Yeah. So we are absolutely open to work with companies from all over the world. We are open to attract startups, innovators, and both big companies and small companies to our ecosystem, because we need everyone. We are, as per the law of the UAE, we are a free zone. So we are a government entity that we can incorporate companies here legally. We can issue visas. We can do all the basic things that companies need to incorporate. So for companies who are interested to be part of a thriving ecosystem, they can always contact us through our website or our direct mails or phones. We are definitely eager to build this ecosystem, and this is what we've been doing, and this is what we will continue to do in a very creative way. As I said, we are small, agile, we think big, and like to start also small and move fast.
That's what technology and innovation are also
Absolutely.
about, right? So you're living by the values. And
Yes.
now, since we are speaking about this, it is very, very obvious that you're very passionate about innovation, technology, sustainable development, and every single area that you're leading at SRTIP. So why is it that you're passionate about it? What attracts you to this area personally?
Personally, I like to nurture young talents. I like to nurture and groom future leaders. I've been doing this, since my graduation. I was very active at the university, being part of the International Students Association. When I was studying in America, I came back, I started one of the most successful non-governmental organizations, which had to do with identifying and nurturing young talent, fostering private-public partnership, and acting as a think tank for the government. So I was fortunate to have great bosses who really taught me how to develop and grow. And of course, I want to give something back. So that my passion is really to give something back to my country and to make my country proud and make everyone in this country proud. And I think also to have a global hopes, because we are part of a global community. I have friends all over the world. They are very dear to me, and I like them to see successful. We are blessed in this country to have more than 250 nationalities, and we've never felt in any way that we are different from anyone. So we grew up with that mentality, and our leaders in this country are very inspired and visionary leaders, and they like to do good for their own people and for the people around the world. So that's really my motivation, is really to give something back to my community and my society, and to give something back to humanity, because at the end of the day, it takes all of us to do things, and one hand does not clap. So we are fortunate in this country to be blessed with resources from God, and be blessed with a visionary leader who groomed us this way. From day one, this country was open to the world. From day one. And this is what we live, and this is the belief that we have. So
this is incredible. This leadership vision really cascading to every single person that is in the country, be it to the citizens, be it to any resident.
yes.
So, Your Excellency, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you very much, and I also wish you all the best, and I wish your program all the best. We are very excited to have companies like you to be also part of our ecosystem and work with, and I think what you are doing is great. So keep it up, and thank you very much again.